Religion and Realization by Diamond picked up in the street. Let me now read from forward. Sri Sri Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva's perennial sayings and their tangible forms as seen in the process of yoga transformation of the lower self to the supreme self or bliss by Diamond picked up in the street. Manik is the most precious diamond. It is so imagined in India. It grows on the head of a cobra, the most venomous of snakes. Cobra is the insignia by which Kundalini is depicted. Kundalini is the essence of life power. She takes the form of cobra in the backbone of the body, in the process of yoga, the process of transformation of the self into God. She is so seen by Sri Ramakrishna Deva, God, the most precious diamond, comes out from Kundalini and it means God in the body. Money can be had through sheer mercy of God and it is not a purchasable commodity. Money knows no value. Sachidananda, God, doesn't grow in the body by sadhana, that means self exertion. By the grace of Sachidananda, Sachidananda is seen in the body and sometimes in form outside. God in the body comes out spontaneously and not by exertion. If God frees himself from the body out of sheer mercy, then and then alone there is freedom from the bondage of the body. 1. Well, am I committing any offense by disclosing all these secret divine realizations of mine own? Sri Ramakrishna. No, there cannot be any harm. I have spoken out all these secrets simply to have the faith of the human race grown in them. Sri Ramakrishna. Some say to give out one's own divine realization is a profanation. The 5 volumes of Kathamrita, the conversation of Sri Ramakrishna, known as the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, contain the expressions and manifestations of the divinity in his own body as seen by him. God is in the body. By sheer mercy, he expresses himself in the human body. This manifestation of God in the body is in various stages called Lila or God's sport. In other words, it establishes the truth in the man or the spontaneous manifestation of God in the body. The truth manifests in a man in order to be given out. This publicity comes after attainment of chapras, the badge of authority, or ades, precept, or both in some cases. Chapras, the badge of authority, is a written document. God, in a human form, writes it and shows it. Precepts are of two kinds. 1. God takes a human form and speaks. 2. Formless God speaks in the brain. There are two other modes of God speaking to a man. 1 through a kiddie and 2 sometimes through a madman. The Atma, God, emanated in and from the body of Sri Ramakrishna. To relate the processes and stages of the emanation and manifestation is of the divinity in man is called Bhagavat or religious lore. He spoke out Bhagavat, all these modes, processes and manifestations of the divinity in him. No profanation is committed by giving publicity to this Bhagavat. It has been so spoken by Sri Ramakrishna. On the contrary, it makes the dormant faith in a man spring up into life. To conceal the truth from others is a fetter in itself and belongs to the group of 8 fetters known as osteopaths. The revelation of the truth or the emanation of God in the human body does not come into being to be kept in concealment. If God desires, then he manifests himself in a man in supreme knowledge, the knowledge of Samam Bonam Brahmagyan. His desire expresses in the human body in the following stages. 1. Sachidananda Guru or God the Preceptor. Sachidananda or God appears in the form of an unknown human being. It is not an ordinary flesh and blood body, but a human form made of God's light. He speaks, he teaches. At this stage, you do not know the ABC of the happenings in you. You are only a seer. 1. Then follow the emanation, accumulation, and manifestation of the Atma, God, in the seventh plane or within the brain. And Sachidananda Guru or God the preceptors shown him to you, and he himself enters into the Atma and vanishes, making you understand that your God the preceptor is Atma. 2. The innumerable manifestations of God within you in different stages. 3. Then the offering of the badge of authority or chapras to the seer. 4. Publicity of all the processes and stages of God's manifestations within the seer follows. Those who, after attaining the supreme knowledge or Brahmagyan, do still worship God with form, live with love of God or bhakti, or the benefit of the human race to initiate others into the cult of love to God, as if a pitcher is filled with water, but the water is now poured down into other pitchers. The ways and processes by which they have seen God and attained Him in the body are spoken out to making it showers a world of benefit on them. All these are the sayings of Sri Ramakrishna, and as such to give out the ways and processes of seeing and attaining God does not incur any profanation. Now part 2. In some there is spontaneous emanation of God from the body, and they are called Nitya Siddha. Sri Ramakrishna. Those who have attained God in them by self-exertion, such as continuous prayer, and self-discipline, such as fasting, etc., are called Sadhan Siddha. Sri Ramakrishna. There is another class of people who have attained God through sheer grace of God, and they are called Kripa Siddha. It is exactly like carrying light into a closed room which has been kept in darkness of 1,000 years. Sri Ramakrishna. Still more, there are some who all on a sudden get God in them, and they are called Hatat Siddha. It is exactly like a rich man's liking for a poor man's son. The rich man marries his daughter to the poor man's son, and along with it makes a gift of a house, furniture, car, servants, and maids. Sri Ramakrishna. Furthermore, there are some who attain God in them in course of dreams, and they are called Sapna Siddha. Sri Ramakrishna. Now, Nitya Siddha. Nitya Siddha is the form in whose body God emanates spontaneously. There are two classes of Nitya Siddha. A. Nitya Siddha Ishwar Koti Avatar. B. Nitya Siddha Ishwar Koti. Ishwar Koti, God in the form of Chaitanya or divine consciousness, comes down from the brain up to the west. It is seen. It comes to pass in the body of the avatar, and he is called Ishwar Koti. That is, Chaitanya coming down up to the west. This descent is called Avataran. There is another class of Ishwar Koti who have bigger hollows in their backbone. Some bamboos have got bigger hollows and some small. Sri Ramakrishna. What is Avatar? He who sees the Manusratan in him is called Avatar. Manusratan is mannequin with marks of sandal paste on his forehead. He prays the Lord. It is seen and heard. He claps his hands, and it is felt in the palm of the hand of the seer. This Nitya Siddha Ishwar Koti Avatar experiences and sees all kinds of the sportive forms of God emanating from the body both ways, within and without. Siddha, one who has gained Siddhi, that is attainment of God in the body. There are 5 kinds of Siddhis. In Avatar, these 5 kinds of Siddhis come spontaneously. Sometimes God with a form appears and speaks that you are a Kripa Siddha or Dhyan Siddha. The ways and processes of manifestation of God in the body, as chalked out in the Vedas, are the clearest and supreme ones for conception of God in the body, and they pass through 5 stages or seats. Each seat is called kosha. 1. Annamaya kosha is the physical body. 2. Pranamaya kosha is the life force, the plane where the vital force is seen. 3. Monomaya kosha is the mental plane where light in various forms are seen. 4. Vijnanamaya kosha is where special knowledge is acquired when Satchidananda Guru or God the Preceptor shows God and consciousness springs up that I am not body but I am He. 5. Anandamaya kosha is the seat of bliss.